Welcome to Threads of Enlightenment, a podcast devoted to helping you overcome challenges in your life that prevent you from becoming the best version of yourself. Each episode features interviews with people from all walks of life about their journey of self-development and the principles they utilize to overcome their fears to achieve their desired outcome. Ready to be enlightened? Here's your host, Ken Primus.
Episode of Threads of Enlightenment. As usual, guys, this is one of my favorite space. I like to take the time and welcome our guests because I know they're coming with a couple of things that are very expensive in my eyes. That number one is their time. And every one of us is given 24 hours. How we utilize that 24 hours will say much about us. And actually, as they say, will expose our sins. The other is the journey. The journey made us who we are today. It is a powerful creator. And so we want to take the time to welcome Aiden here at Threads of Enlightenment for him to enlighten us, teach us so that we can grow and become better humans while we are here on this planet. Welcome to Threads of Enlightenment, Aiden.
Thank you so much, Ken. It's a pleasure being on.
It is awesome having you, man. One of the questions that I ask people at the onset of the podcast is how do we serve others? Because as we go through this life, we have a tendency sometimes just to focus on ourselves, not realizing that part of the journey is also the interdependent piece of it as well. It's just as we have the importance of the individual journey, but yes, the independent journey is just as rewarding, even more so in some cases. How do you serve mankind?
Ken, I became a Baha'i. I don't know if you know what a Baha'i is. And my faith, yeah. I believe in everybody's equal. I don't care pink, white, purple, green, or whatever. We're all equal. We all need to serve each other. We need to come together and stop some of the racism, some of the anti-Semitism, and, things against each other as human beings. I know what the start of my life was come out of the dark into the light and serve each other. And that's the way I look at it now. The Baha'i faith is where everybody's equal, men and women, nobody's above anybody. And that's where I am. Right now, I serve mankind. I do a lot of things with special needs, young men and young women. That's an area that I think as human beings, we need to look at each other because we look at the way they look at life. Everybody is equal. They love you no matter what. They remember if you're mean or very bad to them. But when they first meet you, they don't know about if you're a good or a bad person. They just know you're a person and they'll give you a hug and talk to you. And I think as human beings, we need to serve each other like that.
I absolutely 100% agree. I think that's the pain that we suffer as a collective is that we are at each other's throats, if you will, allowing people that do not have the best of our interests to cause us to fight against each other, hate, and all of the different dark sides of one's emotions. One of the customs that we do here at Thread is go back into our lifestyle. There are a couple of spaces that I tell people we visit as we move through life. One is the first place is our family. And while we're there, we have mom and dad that are, for how they see the world, they're now going to program you and I by the data that they have received. And so what we do is try to have a feel of what your family was like. Aiden, what was your family?
Oh, I had a normal childhood. Only thing is both my parents, I was an only child, and my parents came from Budapest. They escaped it, and they were there during World War II when the Russians and the Germans were occupying Hungary. So my lifestyle, my parents went through some extremely traumatizing things between Nazism and communism, and things that happened to my mother, and things that they did as partisans. And I don't know if anybody understands what a partisan is. It's somebody fighting against the people taking over. So they did a lot of things to defend themselves. When we came late, my mother let me know about not much of what she did, but knew some of my. I didn't find out everything she did until after she passed. But growing up, it was normal, but I knew there was something because my mom was tough. In my lifetime, I've only been scared of basically two people, my mother and my current wife. Those are the only two people who ever scared me. And I'm just, it's the thing growing up you didn't know, but yet it was tough. My family was good. My dad wasn't there that much. He worked. And then he also worked with a organization with a crew, and that's what got me started working in, I guess you can call as they say, modern the mob. And that was a second family, and that family took care of each other, and as long as we respected each other, we took care of each other.
Yeah. While you're there in that location for a while, again, it's how we manage our life and so forth. And you were introduced. How old were you, Aiden, when you were introduced, if you will, to that type of lifestyle?
Well, I was introduced when we used to have gatherings, I guess you could say, like picnics or barbecues, but when the people from the old country, the older grandmas would show up and make the pasta and their homemade, just a great dishes, foods. I was like 7, 8. And then when I really started doing anything, when they asked me, it was Eddie, which was my dad, kind of cop. He said, hey, I was like 9. Hey, come on by the shop, ride your bike. I got something for you to do. And that's where it's all started. Like I would go to the shop. I would take a package from him to somebody, and usually a politician or a law enforcement or something, and drop them off and just get what if they give you something, bring it, don't look at it, go in there or back, or don't talk to anybody. And I would come back and get 20, 30, 40 bucks, and I'd go get candy at the candy store, live like a king. Or I'd go there and I'd clean up the little like social club. I would be in there cleaning up, like sweeping around, bringing drinks to people. And that's how it started. I started about 9, 8 or 9, and just worked my way up.
As you stated, as you worked your way up, what did that look like when you make the statement you worked your way up? For those on the outside, we can kind of use our imagination to try and put some things together. But what did that look like, Aiden, as you stated, working your way up?
We were a family, and I had a lot of respect from people because of who I ran with. And what we'd do is, as I started, they taught me how, because my father was never there. They taught me how to drive. They taught me how to shoot. They taught me how to use a nice pick a knife or any nice pick, how to use things. At 15, I stole a couple cars. And then 16, same thing. And then I worked my way up to where I would help collect money we go to different stores, mom and pop stores, and we would get money for protection and make sure nothing happens to them. And those neighborhoods were safest place. You could walk all 24/7 because we worked with the gangs too. And we worked that and we collect money, so we paid gambling and we lend money to people and they'd have to pay it back. A lot of them are degenerate gamblers. So imagine how we had to collect sometimes on that. And just basically stuff like that. We just did that, and we did a lot of things. I mean, I did a lot of things I'm not proud of, a lot of very bad things. Working my way up, I felt the power and I felt the respect from people. One thing we were always told, and especially from Eddie, was that we would do gambling, prostitution, loan money, protection. We did not do drugs. That's the first thing. We let the gangs sell them in their neighborhood. We got a percentage from them as they did with us. We worked with them. They didn't mess with us. We didn't mess with them in our business. And if somebody came our territory, they were in that territory, they would help us protect it. So it was growing up, like I said, there's a lot of respect and stuff, but I didn't realize this I thought was life. And not realizing how under dark I was, because I had no belief in God. I had no belief in other people. I was, learning a lot of things as I grew up. I was not, I would say I was racist being young until I finally realized how stupid it was. And I think that's what I grew up, growing up that way. And until my 20s, that's the way it was.
So once you hit your 20s, how did that beginning to that at that age? What was your trajectory like as far as where your life was going? Where did the change began to happen in your life? As you said, in your 20s, what did that change look like?
Well, when I was in college, what happened was prior to going to college, I was doing it. Eddie came up and said the FBI were coming in and arresting everybody, and he was leaving town. And, he was leaving, and I need to go to college. I had an opportunity to play football. And he's like, go do, because I was big for my age. And he said, make something. Just do me a favor, keep nominating I and my son if you can. So
Yeah.
I went to college. And when I was in college, I was sitting there in my dorm and the DOJ showed up, Department of Justice. And they're like, hey, we need to talk. And I'm like, yeah, get out of here. I don't need to talk to you and you clowns. And they're like, no, we need to talk. And, I was thinking that a little bit, said, let me figure out what these guys want, what these clowns want. So I went to breakfast with them, and they threw a package in front of me with pictures, and had pictures of me with Eddie, my dad with Eddie, and Dominic, and a couple of the other guys from the crew, and my mom with Eddie, driving with Eddie, eating with the guys. And he said, we're all going to go to jail with this new thing called RICO. It's brand new, and we're going to use it against you. I had no clue what it was, and I didn't care about myself. I really didn't care about my dad. But when they said my mother's going to jail, and I believe everybody was a mama's boy, because I was. And if you're not, you're lying, because, my mom, I talked to her every day till the day she died. I got scared. So they said, they dropped me in 3 months. I got to think about it. And when they came back after 3 months, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I played like crap. And they gave me an ultimatum. They said, flunk your way out of school, but party your way out. After a year, then we'll talk. We'll give you money to flunk your way out, to go party, play with the college girls, do what you got to do. I, not knowing I was stupid, I did what they asked. And then when I got home, I told my parents that school's not for me. But before I talked to my parents, I saw these guys at another restaurant away a couple of hours, something out of town. And they wanted me to, which I thought was the funniest thing in the world at first, was become a police officer. I thought, nah, you don't want me to do that. Yeah, and I'm like, this is what we want you to do. They didn't tell me. They said, get on this department. That was all. There was no tell me what happens if I didn't. And I did. Back in then, it wasn't that hard. As long as you were physically fit and were not an idiot, you could pass the test. And I did. And I became a police officer. And it started that way, at that age. Doing things to get close. And when we get close to the first one was a guy that was posing as a hitman. And I got close, but I became a drinker. And that time in my life, which took on for the next about 15 years of doing that, they had me from one department to another. Department in the town I grew up in, which I thought was, really, seriously, guys, I'm going to go work at the department where I grew up. And I knew those bad police officers were on the take. But in that time frame, I became a bad alcoholic. And I used to, being part of a crew, you had a family there. You didn't snitch or squeal on them. And to this day, I'm going to say this. I never said anything against the guys I ran with the crew. They may have thought I did, but I never said anything against them. What I did is when I went undercover, I took down bad politicians and bad police officers. But in the same time, if you ever became a police officer, there's a thing called the blue line with the men and women of law enforcement. And you don't cross that blue line because you're just going against that family. And I was having nightmares and night terrors, and I was having hallucinations of seeing St. Michael with the flaming sword coming at me and said, you betrayed. And I couldn't talk about this because I was told by anybody I talked about with my wife at the time or with anybody else, the deal's off and I go to jail for 67 years. And my mom and my dad. And so I just kept ripping. And after I started doing it, I thought, I'm doing something good. But in that time frame, I'd wake up, and I remember in my mind, because I would see these these images. I would take a 357 Magnum. I would put one round in there, a Magnum round, and spin it. And I would put it to my mouth over my temple, and I pull that trigger. And I know at least 200 times of doing it, but I know at least how many times I'd wake up with it next to me. And sometimes there'd be 3 rounds in that 6-round chamber, and it never went off because I'm still here.
Wow.
And to this day, I think God had a plan for me. But I had such a dark and was such a bad, I could just see, I would wake up, my buddy Don found me in a hotel room, just all drunk, but sweat and with no clothes on or in my underwear. And he would bring me home, and he's the one that brought me back. That's what having good friends. But it's still there. I still have the night terrors to this day. And that's how the book all started. Is my wife at the time would call my buddy Sam and tell Sam, hey, he is just going nuts. He's waking up, he's screaming, he's punching the wall, he's throwing me, he's handcuffing me, he's throwing me to the ground, he said he's going to bury, all kinds of stupid things. I don't have any idea I'm doing that. Can you come talk to him?
Wow.
My buddy Sam introduced me to the Baha'i faith. And at the time, I always joked, I worked for the other guy. I would collect souls and everything for the other guy. I didn't believe in religion. I thought religion was stupid. I thought anything to do with that was stupid. So Sam came out, and my buddy Don, who was a Catholic, kept telling me all my life, you need to believe in God. And he went to Catholic school, and he's like, you need to believe this stuff. And I would always laugh at him because they're idiots. I'm not believing the shit. Forget you. And so I started reading Baha'i faith, and I'm reading the writings of Abdul Baha'i, and I'm thinking, wow, this is pretty deep. So one day I was sitting outside reading, and it was a nice sunny day, and no clouds, nothing. And I was looking up, and I just all of a sudden felt this difference and warmth in me. And I wasn't from the sun. It was just me reading and thinking about it, and thinking about, wow, really? And one of the things too, when I went for psychological testing, and after everything was getting done, and I was told that I had no empathy, and that I'm borderline psychotic, that I'm a sociopath. And I thought, wow, no, to this day, my wife and I can't watch anything with gore in it because I laugh at it. Somebody's arms getting broken, getting ripped off. I think it's funny. But I'm working on that every day. But when I was sitting outside, I had this warmth, unbelievably different feeling. I didn't like it at first. All of a sudden, I realized, wow, I was an ass. And I need to improve. I need to be better at the world. And, I believe in God. Now I do, extremely. And I believe God's got a sense of humor because he gave me ALS. I have ALS. So with everything I didn't like, God's going to say, you know what? We're going to give this to you because of what you've done. And they've got a sense of humor. And so I used to say I was never afraid of dying. I had guns put in my head. I've been shot. I've been stabbed. And I never worried about dying. And then I have ALS, so I'm like, okay, but now I want to live because I want to make the world a better place. I'm going to do as best I can to stay alive, to go out there and show the world we need to work together. We need to be together. We're one. We all bleed red. And it doesn't matter who you are. That racism needs to go. That anti-Semitism needs to go. This whole entire, what we have now, this cancer culture, this, you need to, do what I like. We're going to get rid of something because I don't like it. We don't need that, we need to work together and not be told what we can and can't do. And that, unfortunately, that's what parents live through with communism and Nazism. People nowadays understand if that comes into place, what's going to happen. Nobody knows until you go live in a communist country, come back after 6 months and let me know what you think of it. And work together. Because if you don't work together and you let somebody decide what you're going to do, you're going to end up with that.
Yeah, it's so scary. It's scary to even think about it because, it's not like this system and this belief hasn't been tried before. It's been tried by several nations. And we saw the results of those nations from the economy to the devastation that it brought to the people, all of it. But I think, one of the sins of us, man, is that we haven't learned to appreciate the the nuances of the difference of culture, differences of people, differences of belief system. I think when we are dogmatic, if you will, in certain approaches, that we shut out everyone else because of what color, and something simple as a color, that we have put an importance on a color of someone's or their religious belief. It's really um, interesting to see that we haven't, in the globalness of life and human behavior, that we haven't really moved anywhere. It's like we are just at this place where um, we are being pulled by men and women that do not have our best interests at all. And it's hard to see how, I guess the masses are called in some places sheep. And so I could see with that, but I pray to God that doesn't happen in America, because I don't know how that would pan out for the globe as well. So here you are, your friend introduced you to this belief system that changed your life. As you began to look on the inside, as the changes began, as you said, the first encounter you had was this warmness that engulfed your being. And now, how did you begin to apply the practicalness of to your life?
I basically, the practice, I brought it into myself. I read the writings. I became a Baha'i. I studied it. Like to this day, I guess it's called Rudy classes. I do that 2 times a week, which is, it's basically a Bible class to understand it more, because I'm still new at it. I'm still understanding it. And I put it in practice as far as I help people I can. I do best I can to be a better person towards the world. I'm going to be honest, I don't watch TV. I watch documentaries. I don't really want to know about politics. I don't want to get involved in that stuff. I want to get into believing that we need to get rid of racism. We do have people out there that want to keep racism in the front for their own gains. Talk about it and use it against people saying this. As long as you keep it in the forefront, that's what keeps it going. You got to accept each other. And same thing with anti-Semitism. These people, for the Palestinians, all right, most Palestinians, 90% are good, but except for that one, but they use it as a flag. But they use it, these people are saying, there's a point that people are going to do what they have to do. And the anti-Semitism out there, to understand what's going on, they've been doing this for 4,000 years. Does it need to stop? Yeah, but that's a problem. That's a religion. It's one religion against another. They think they need to die. And we just need to understand and work together. But there is times that you look at, we're human beings. And yes, sheep, you're right. I was told when I was younger, do you want to be a sheep or do you want to be a wolf? If you want to be a sheep, then you'll be slaughtered by the wolves. If you're a wolf, the other wolf packs will try to stay away from you. And what we need to do as a society is have people protect the sheep, but also don't have your own interest, have everybody's interest at heart. You've got to, I get this. The other thing around this world is the almighty dollar. That's what runs everything. And people will do whatever it takes to get it. And we need to work together and get rid of some of this poverty out there. Instead of worrying about other countries and sending money for them for their wars, maybe we should send some money to us in impoverished areas to help them bring them back. And then the gangs out there, because there's no families, you got to bring them away from them. That's kind of what I did as a kid with the family I ran with, as far as I found a family. We need to help kids out there more with the WYNCA or the the YMCA or YWCA, stuff like that with the programs with the kids. And again, with the programs I work with special needs kids, because that's another one. They're not throwaway kids. They have something to give there. We need to understand they have love. And that's what we need more. We need more love and we need more respect for each other in the world.
And as you began to practice your Baha'i faith, Aiden, what did you start noticing about you as an individual? What did you start looking at and going, whoa, what were some of those changes that you had an opportunity to witness? Because you're here as this guy from such a young age, exposed to a different type of family, doesn't have to deal with any love for outsiders and so forth. But he's in this faith now, and this faith is about everyone is equal. And how did that begin to impact you?
It impacted me to be better towards my fellow man and woman. It impacted me that I'm not above anybody else. We're all equal, and that I need to understand that, and I have. I work on it every day. I still have my temper, which, it's going to be hard to get rid of. I still have a little temper, but I do better. But as far as understanding, I understand that we are all equal. We need to get rid of, like I said, racism and anti-Semitism. And I was never against that. I wasn't a racist. I had a lot of friends that were both black, white, Asian, Jewish, not Jewish. I really didn't think about it, but at times we were racist towards each other. We were anti-Semitic towards each other. But you know what? I need to understand that, right now I'm not like I used to be towards anybody. Yeah. I'll talk to anybody and I'll talk to them with respect. And that's all I care about now is just give me respect. And there's no problem there. And I will always give you respect until you disrespect me, and then we got a little problem. But other than that, that's how I become a better person. It used to be I never cared about that. I never cared. I used to, I'm going to go screw this person. Nowadays, I am more like, okay, let's talk to each other. Maybe there's something about them we don't understand what they're going through. And my practice more is understand each other. I talk to veterans too, and they went through some of the struggles I did. And to understand each other, it's like you really can't say anything bad about police officers. You really can't say anything bad about military until you've walked in their shoes. I think people that are going against law enforcement, like I said, I took down a lot of bad politicians and bad police officers. Those one bad police officers make 100,000 good police officers look bad, men and women. And I think everybody should go to a big city and work a day as a police officer and see what they go through. Maybe you understand that they deal with the cesspools people are like, and that gets to them. That's why their suicide rate's so high. Then maybe you learn to understand each other. If they're out there helping, but they're 99% out there to help you. So we work together. Work with your local law enforcement. Work with your firefighter. Work with your first responders. Maybe a place will be better. Everybody will be better. Don't look at each other in color. Don't look at each other in different ways and forms. Look at each other as a human being, that we are all equal. We all bleed red. And we're all together with this. And then look at each other. Don't be fooled by somebody that looks like a sheep but is a wolf and will take advantage of you. If you think somebody might be doing something wrong, or if you have an issue, there's always somebody out there to talk to. That's what it is. You got to talk to each other and communicate with each other, and maybe we can make this world a better place.
That is quite a shift, man. It's powerful as you're telling your journey and how you made that shift from someone who didn't really care to someone who's now looking at all as one, regardless of our differences, regardless of our color, and the fact that we need to communicate and seek comfort in each other as we move through life. here you are as you're moving through your life, you've made the changes. How did you begin to head towards the direction of now putting pen to paper, if you will, to convert your life story, if you will, to a memoir? Who was it that had given you that idea? Was it yours? How did it come about? And talk to us a little about that.
You know, I didn't want to do it. I was so much against it. My buddy Sam says, you need to talk. You need to get this out. I'm like, screw you. This is my demons. I need to bear this torch. And he's like, you need to talk about it. So him and I talked, and he's just looking at me with his mouth open and with disbelief of my life story and stuff I went through. And, the book only has a fraction of it. And so he said, we got to do a book. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing a damn book. Yeah, we're doing it. You got to put this out there because you started out as an ass. I've known this guy my whole life. And he's like, you started out, you were good protecting me and stuff. You had your problem, but look at you now. You believe in something. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. And I go, I don't need people. And he goes, well, we'll make sure everybody's, I've tempted in my life a couple times, buddy. I'm not going to take a chance on my family, but we'll keep it, make sure that nobody will know. And that way we'll change things, places. Like it says at the beginning of the book, places, people, names, and places and dates have been changed to protect the guilty. Because everybody's guilty in this book of something. And so I was really against it, but he's like, do this. And so I started to do it. And I had some more night terrors. It was bringing out things I repressed. But it started coming back, and I started being better. And then I realized, reading more into Baha'i faith while doing this, and it took 2 years, that, I want to become a Baha'i. And it made me come out of the dark more into the light. That, okay, it's off my chest now. This is what happened. It's a screwed up life, but I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't change it because it taught me a lot. It taught me to be better with my fellow man. It showed me that, you could be a very dark person, a very bad person, but then you can come out of that light and help people. And I want to show that, somebody can come out of being dark and come into the light and be a positive to society, get rid of racism and anti-Semitism, and to show that there is somebody out there to go after bad police officers and bad politicians, put them in jail, to help keep the bad ones off the street, that they are trying to do that. And then finally, that spiritually, we all can learn something being spiritual. There is, like they said, there is no atheist in a foxhole. And there isn't, and that we could talk to each other. We can help people that are going PTSD and stuff like that. Just talk. I'm always there to talk to anybody going through any type of difficulties. I'm willing to help them whatever I am able to do for them. But again, as humans, we need to understand that, let's work together. Well, that's what I learned, writing this book is more of acceptance, more of anti-racism, more of anti-Semitism, to get rid of these things. We need to stop. And that's what writing this book helped me understand.
Hey guys, everyone that is listening, we're going to put that link for you guys to have access to his book. And I want to encourage you guys, purchase his book, give it to friends as gifts, because it shows a man's journey from darkness to light, basically, and how he was able to become something that he probably couldn't even imagine as a young man. Now in his life, part of the Baha'i faith and pursuing that, and how want to encourage you guys that are going through some dark times. You got to allow someone greater than you inside so that they can help you make those changes. And we have access to God, the divine, some people use, but we have access. All we have to do is come and sit down and engage in a conversation. And so, all of you that are in pain, open that communication so that you can have some light come in, warmness, if you will, as Aiden said, to come into your life and change your trajectory forever and cause you to look at yourself differently and cause you to look at man differently. So as you hear, we're listening to how he's now a servant to those that are not able, if you will, to say anything or give back anything. And that, I believe, expands us even more, gives us the ability to love even deeper as we sink ourselves into serving others. Here you are, you've gone through much, nightmares, all those things that you had to deal with, the suicidal attempts, all of it, the alcohol, all of it. I tell people all of that stuff made us who we are. If you're talking to someone today, Aiden, that is captured, if you will, by pain and some of the lifestyle that one does to manage the pain, alcohol, and all the different things, what is your advice to that individual?
My advice would be, you know what? I'm here for you. I'll talk to you. These vices that you're doing, you need to stop. There's a way to help you. You need to find something better in your life than that. We can use faith, which would be the best thing, but we can also use that somebody's there to talk to you, that you are not alone. As long as you have somebody there that you know you have somebody that will support you, a support group, a support staff, that you're going to help you. It will help you in the long run that you're not alone. It's when these people feel alone that they get caught into this. Again, I would tell them, I'm here for you. I'll talk to you. I'll take time out to be with you and to understand. I mean, I'm not going to help you with your vice. I'm not going to help you get drunk. I'm not going to help you, but I will help you understand what you're doing is destroying yourself and possibly somebody else, your family, your mother, that we have people there. Get back in touch with your family. They're going to accept you. And if they don't accept you, God will. Faith will. I don't care if you become a Catholic or a Jewish or if you're going to be a Baha'i. Something spiritually need to do for you to accept this. And if need be, I will help you in any way I can. And I will talk to you. And believe me, I've been there. So I'm not going to tell you something bullshit that's not going to be there that I didn't do it. I did it. But I found my way out, and I will be there to help you.
That is awesome. Guys, we're going to provide that link so you can get all of his links so you can get access to him, because that's the name of this game that we're in. One of the things and the reasons why I started Threads of Enlightenment was to let people know that they're not alone, because I know that when you're in a dark place and you feel alone, that you have a tendency of doing things that are not good to yourself. What we're trying to do here at Threads of Enlightenment is provide a platform whereby you can get some help, whereby you can get a chance to speak to someone like Aiden, who's gone through some dark places, and he will be able to assist you and bring you some insight and knowledge as to where you're at, how to get yourself out of there and get some help and become free from that mindset, if you will. Here you are. You are an author, and what is your goal right now, Aiden, as far as for your life? You're looking at your future. What is it, your intention as a practitioner of the Baha'i faith? What is it that you feel on your heart that is now moving you forward?
Well, I feel in my heart that I'm going to try to make the world a better place before I leave. None of my time's short. And I'm going to do all I can to have people understand each other, to have people love each other, and to make the world better. We can work together and get rid of darkness, and just do it through the faith, or through something that we need to believe in something. And my rest of my days forward is basically having people understand the Baha'i faith or something spiritually, and that there's people out there for them.
That is awesome, man. Aiden, I want to thank you so much for coming by and visit us here at Threads of Enlightenment and opening up and sharing your powerful story and your journey with us, and see how one can transfer it. It gives all of you guys that are listening hope. And I want to thank him for coming to Threads of Enlightenment.
And I mean, I am so much, Ken. I am just honored to be on. I love this platform that you're doing, and I think it's awesome. And again, thank you so much for letting me be on and tell my story.
Thank you so much, sir. It's an honor to have you in this space. Thank you.
Again, thank you, Ken.
Aiden, thank you so much, man, for...
Thanks for tuning in to Threads of Enlightenment with Ken Primus. Hopefully you're now feeling more empowered to overcome the challenges in your life, whatever they may be. Share that inspiration with others by telling them about this podcast, rating it, and of course, remember to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. For more connection, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram by searching for Threads of Enlightenment. Until next time, stay enlightened.